You would have remembered in our last chapter of training we made a whole bunch of really cool cabinets. You're probably thinking to yourself, I don't want to have to make them every time. So in this lesson we're going to jump in and have a look at how we can save them back to our library. There's a few things that we need to remember when saving objects into your library. We need to make sure that there's no overrides or changes that we accidentally make that will be retained when we drag them into our new jobs. To start with, when we right click on our cabinet, you have the option to save or to save as. The only difference when you click these is when you select Save As, the object library will be shown on the window on the far left hand side. The simple difference between these two options is when you save, you're overriding the object within the library, versus Save As, which is going to create a new object. On this main page of our Save As menu, the three options available are the name of the object, the description of the object for any notes or reports, and the icon. You may choose a name that ties in with the files you've already been given, or something that's unique to your cabinets. The icon by default will be chosen based off what type of cabinet you've created, but you can override the icon and choose something that closely represents what your cabinet looks like, for example a set of drawers. The next section is our preserves. If you do wish to preserve overrides with a cabinet, please choose so wisely, as these will always be present within the cabinet once you bring it back into a job. The preserves are available as followed. Our finish preserve will mean the current finish and textures of the cabinet are preserved. Our height, which will take the current overall height of the cabinet and hold on to that and ignore our job properties. Depth, which will also take the current depth of the cabinet and hold that value and ignore the job properties again. For our advanced and ultimate customers, you'll also have attributes, which preserves any attributes or parameters that are specific to the cabinet either from a UCS or from within Object Tree. Notes, which will preserve any comments you've added to the cabinet either via UCS or within the Object Tree, or alternatively by right-clicking and adding a note in the properties. CAD, which will save any CAD that you have added to the cabinet or any parts within it. After clicking Advanced, you'll see a few more options. The Placement tab contains certain constraints to how the cabinet will be added to the job. First up, we have our horizontal placement, which will give you the options to either place your cabinet only in a corner, such as corner 90s or blind corner cabinets, or both in corners and just on walls, so you can place it in either. The stretching option will give you the chance to either give or take away the ability to stretch the cabinet in either width, height, or depth from the sidebar. If you untick any of these options, when they're displayed in the job, the option will be greyed out on the sidebar. This is a great tool for things like oven cabinets and dishwashers that are always a certain size and you don't want them to accidentally be changed. We then have our positional drop-down menu. This is where we can decide what elevation the cabinets will drop in when we add them to the job. The vertical option gives you the option of where you would like to place the cabinet. Above elevation makes the elevation dialog box on the right appear and allows you to create a specific placement off the floor to the bottom of the cabinet. Above positional will place the bottom of the object at the corresponding measurement that you set up in Room and Layouts tab. Above the soffit will place the bottom of the object above our soffit height. Below elevational will make again the elevational dialog box active and allows us to create a specific placement off the floor to the top of the object. Below positional will place the top of the object at the corresponding measurement as set up in the Room and Layouts tab with the corresponding question. Ceiling will place the top of the object hard to the top of your wall. Countertop will place the bottom of the object to sit on the top of your base cabinet height plus your counter thickness. Float allows free movement for you to place the cabinet wherever you click on the screen. Floor which is the default setting for any base cabinets or tall cabinets in the job, which sets the cabinet elevation to 0. Toe height, which will place the cabinet at whatever toe height you provide within the main construction method. Under counter will align the top of the cabinet with the base cabinets to sit under your countertop. Under soffit, which is the default for all your wall cabinets, and this will place the top of the cabinets at the soffit height within the room. Under uppers will take the soffit height and the wall cabinet height into account and place the object directly under the wall cabinet, for example, a finished panel below your cabinets. There is also a more advanced preserve section here. Have a look through that list if you want, however you probably won't need to use too many of these options while you're first starting out. So have a bit of a look around, get used to those menus and what's available, and start thinking in the back of your mind which ones you'll need to preserve for the cabinets we made earlier. But before you start saving them away, check out our next lesson where we're just going to cover a few things to watch out for and a few tips and tricks to make sure that when you're saving these cabinets away, they go into your next job as smooth as possible.